Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tara Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Music Corporation. Getting closer to Allah, getting closer to your Lord, getting to know Him. And we ended our last program talking about oppression and how many people today are oppressors, and some knowing and some unknowingly. And this is a very dangerous position to be in. Bullying, for example, of any kind, of any age today, when we generally hear about bullying, we're thinking about children, right? But the biggest bullies are adults. And unfortunately, it's global, straight across the globe. Every society, for lack of a better description, whatever terminology you want to use to define it, is of little consequence. It exists every place. But the thing we have to look at is what will be the condition of the person who implements this regularly in his life. A person who discriminates, for example, or oppresses based on any form of discrimination. And I don't want to go through all the forms of discrimination. I think we all know that. And of course, there's some people in denial about that. Some people say, well, listen, I'm at the top of the food chain, man. So you want me to be down on the bottom with those people on the bottom? I'm not going to be with them. They're there to serve me. So fine. If you feel that they're there to serve you, that's fine. But the question is, how do you treat them? How do you treat them? The Prophet ﷺ said what? Wish for your brother what you wish for yourself. Sure, the person may be on a different level than you economically or whatever it might be, but does that mean that you should abuse him? Do you think that that will be excused by Allah, that abuse? That it will, when you come before Allah on the day of judgment, do you think you will be relieved of that because of your status or your position? This is a kind of ignorance. So we need to understand that Allah is just. Allah is just. And we should be afraid of this. And we find that the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were terrified of this factor, that they unduly oppressed someone. They did something to someone that they shouldn't have done. They said something to someone they shouldn't have said. They were afraid that they would come before Allah and this would weigh heavy on them on the day of judgment. Today, unfortunately, people take this very lightly. They openly, on international vehicles like this one, where people can hear it anywhere in the world in multiple languages, insult other people, make fun of other people, belittle, downgrade, and on and on and on and on, openly, not thinking that this is all being recorded. We have comedy, so-called comedy, where comedians just literally abuse people in a horrible way, and we laugh and we think it's funny. This is a heavy, heavy weight on the day of judgment. So we should be very careful about this and come back to the middle, to our senses. And those of us who have this desire, for lack of a better description, because many of us, we grow up in environments where certain things are common for us to say about certain people. Well, you know, those people, they're like that. And this is a kind of racism or discrimination. We don't even know those people that we're talking about, but we generalize and make generalizations about those people. We should be very careful about this, because the Prophet ﷺ said more or less that the prayer of the oppressed person goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unveiled, directly to Allah. It's very serious. Very serious, fair. So we should be very, very concerned about what we say and our actions in relationship to Allah's creation. So let's see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hadid, Surah number 57, verse number 16. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Has not the time come to the hearts of those who believe to be affected by Allah's reminder? And Allah is talking about the Quran. And of the truth that has been revealed, and not to be like those who have been given the book before, the Christians and the Jews, whereby the term was lengthened for them and their hearts became hard and many of them are rebellious. And here Allah is talking about the Quran has been revealed. It's 1,400 years now. It's more than 1,400 years. Are there people today who do not accept the Quran as it was like the people who didn't accept the revelations that came to the Prophet Dawood, David, and Moses, and Ibrahim, and Jesus before? Is it still today that now Allah has revealed the Quran, which is compilation of what had been revealed before, and are people still like those people who, even though Allah gave them time, like the people of Noah, may the peace and the blessing of Allah be upon him. Noah, alayhi salam, he invited his people for 950 years. Allah says in the Quran, 1,000 years minus 50. He invited the people to believe in the oneness of Allah, away from disbelief, and they refused, except for a very small group of people. So we want to talk about respite. Allah gave them respite. Allah gave Noah alayhi salam long life and gave him the endurance to bear and then to invite and keep inviting the people. But they refused. The majority of them refused. His own son refused. And they were destroyed by the floods. So if we look at today's world, is it different? I hear people say, oh, brother, I see horrible things happening. Women, children, elderly people, they're being destroyed in one way or another in a society by war, by flood, by earthquake, by disease. Why is this happening? This is horrible. Why does Allah do this? This is punishment. This is difficult for these people. Why does Allah do this? You say Allah is just. Well, we look at it from a different perspective, isn't it? A child, for example, who is relieved of this world no longer has to tarry, does he? He no longer has to worry about this situation. The situation is finished for him. An elderly person who is suffering due to illness or sickness or lack of food or oppression, Allah takes his life. He no longer has to endure that, does he? So if we look at it from this perspective, and the same other thing, the person says, okay, but what about the people who are suffering here? The ones who are living, okay, the ones who are dead, okay, we can accept that. The person who is dead has gone on to what Allah has written for him. And he's dealing with the unseen. But what about the people who are living? What about those people? And the Prophet ﷺ said more or less that for the believer, the slightest of things, the smallest of things, such as the pricking of a finger, becomes a means of forgiveness for his sins. So we had people, and we have today, people who are being encouraged to kill themselves, to relieve themselves from pain, or to relieve themselves from others having, for themselves to be dependent on others, or for others to be responsible for them. But isn't that a test for the ones who are being responsible? It is also a test for them, isn't it? That Allah has given them time also to relieve themselves of their sins. That this becomes a means of forgiveness for them, their sins, if they're enduring, they're patient, and they're steadfast in worshiping Allah. The person who does the contrary, he's in very serious situation. The person who curses, and there are people like this, who feel sorry for himself because of his condition. He is distressed to the point of, in some instances, insanity, self-imposed by drugs, alcohol, whatever means, a methodology or addiction that he or she may have, then this is a person who's chosen another course. The person who's steadfast and says, this will not rock my faith. I have to return to Allah. I ask Allah for forgiveness for my sins. I ask Allah for his mercy, from surely Allah has created me, and surely to Allah I will return. I accept that, and I ask him to forgive me, have mercy. That's very different individual. And the person says, well, you know, brother, I understand that, but you know, when you're in pain every day, it's difficult to do that. Yes. But we have to ask Allah. See? There's a point of submission. I have to ask Allah to make it easy for me. I have to ask Allah to make my lips among those who constantly remember him. I have to submit myself. I have to want to submerge myself in the belief in the oneness of Allah, the power, the might of Allah. That the real success is not in this, in this material existence, that the things which I obtain or maintain. No. It may appear that way to others, human beings, but this is not the real success. The real success is in pleasing Allah. If Allah is pleased with me, then I've won everything. If Allah is displeased with me, I've lost everything. And all of us, I think we were seeing people in both situations. And Allah knows best, but we can see in the lives of people, winners and losers. Winners are people that we see under all circumstances, they praise Allah. They're thankful to Allah under all situations. Doesn't change. Whether it's the most difficult, most challenging, or not. And only Allah can give us the ability to overcome these obstacles. So we have to seek his pleasure. Surah Az-Zumr, Surah number 39, verse number 23. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah has sent down the best speech, a book, its parts resembling each other in goodness and truth, oft repeated. The skins of those who fear their Lord shivers from it. Thereafter, their skins and hearts soften to remembrance of Allah. That is the guidance of Allah. He guides with it whom he pleases. And whomever Allah sends astray has no guide whatsoever. So Allah is telling us here again that the guidance for us is in the Quran. So I'm encouraging everyone out there, whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, get a hold of the Quran, read it, contemplate over it, think about it in relationship to your life, what's happening with you every single day. Take the time out. If you're not Muslim, or even if you're Muslim, go sit with an imam in a masjid and discuss it. Look at, say, well, okay, there's a verse here, I don't understand this, or there's a verse here, this one I can relate to. Can you explain it to me in more detail and give me an idea of exactly what it means? I can relate to this, but I'm not sure. What does it mean to me? I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Buddhist, I'm an atheist, but I like this particular verse and I'm curious about it. Why am I saying this? Because I find personally that maybe more than any time in my life, and maybe because I'm getting old, that I find more people today who are misguided. And when I say misguided, they openly say that I am confused. I am not trying to put anybody in a particular bag or a box. I've sat with numerous people, male and female from all over the world, and they basically start with the same thing. I'm confused. And the Quran was revealed to do what? To give people clear guidance, to make it clear for them what it is that Allah wants us to do. And on the other side, what it is that Allah does not want us to do. Where the real success is, where the real failure is. How to strive to achieve the pleasure of Allah. What to do to protect ourselves from the punishment of Allah. Because there are people out there who say, for example, that Jesus died for their sins, and they expect that Jesus, alayhi salam, for example, is going to take all their sins and just say that you believe in Jesus and everything will be all right. There are people who believe that. I'm not saying that every Christian believes that, but there are Christians who believe that. There are Jews who believe that what they do as Jews separates them from other people, that they are the chosen people, as an example. So they're chosen above and beyond everyone else. And as a result of that, dealing with other people, they can do what it is they want to do. Not every Jew is like that, but there are those who do that. And we'll find this on in all religious groups, that there are some people who think that they're above and beyond everyone else. They have segregated and separated themselves from everyone else, and they are the people of guidance. Well, Allah has given us the book as a guidance and a mercy. So we have a choice today, don't we? Read the book. Make the choice for yourself of what is true guidance and what is falsehood, for the sake of your own salvation, for your own eternity. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on getting closer to Allah, getting to know your Lord, thanking Him and praising Him. And of course, this will be the most beneficial time for us in this world when we thank and praise Allah abundantly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.